Okay, I think we can get started. Welcome everyone. This is an improvised town hall. If you don't have the context, we'll be speaking about the news we just got that was posted on announcements. So before we start, if you want to have the full context needed for this town hall, please go to the announcements channel where you will find a statement coming from Automata. So just go there, read it, and you will have all the context needed for this improvised town hall. We just wanted to be here, be close to you, as we have always been, and answer any questions that you guys have. With this said, Michael, as always, welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks, Santi. Obviously joining today on more of a somber tone, but um, uh, you know, obviously not the reason we wanted to get together here today. What I want to provide some reassurance around, first and foremost, though, is that our resolve is still very strong. We've taken some time to discuss the events of this week with our team and the conviction across team members and the passion and the enthusiasm has not faltered whatsoever. Our team, I believe, is committed to continuing the development of the vision of Star Atlas. And further beyond that, although the announcement just went out, I've already received a number of communications across social media, direct messages, and otherwise from people in the community. And I just want to say I'm sincerely appreciative of those positive comments and of uh, the strength of the community itself. Now, I don't want today to be perceived to be entirely negative. Yes, there were some negative events overall, but well, ultimately this week has been quite an emotional roller coaster. Coming off of Breakpoint, we had an absolutely fantastic time while we were out there presenting both on Games Day as well as a keynote on the main stage, and meeting with a number of teams and builders across the Solana ecosystem, forming relationships, establishing pathways to partnerships, but more importantly, demonstrating to the world exactly what we're capable of, the caliber of the talent that we have here, the caliber of the product that we're building, and the response there was overwhelmingly positive. We proved to the world this weekend just what's possible and just what we're capable of. And we were expecting this week to be one of celebration. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So I don't want to offer any excuses as to how this situation transpired. There was an unfortunate chain of events in which we did not have access to our FTX account over that time, being out of the country, and some other coincidences, and not having sufficient backup measures in place where someone would have accessibility to that. So, unfortunately, I was relatively trapped there, even with information coming in, and as we were monitoring the situation, um, there was little to be done. And by the time I returned from Lisbon, it was already too late. Deposit or withdrawals were already suspended. So where we go from here is we continue to focus on building. Once again, our team has 100% resolve in continuing to forge forward and build the vision that we've laid out for Star Atlas. Period. Now, we're also analyzing how best to navigate these relatively uncertain waters as we pursue all of our development efforts. And yes, it's impactful, and there's many different paths that we could take here, but we're going to be taking a conservative approach. We're going to be making some adjustments internally. We've been extremely active in communicating with any relationships and partnerships that we have in our network to identify sources of capital. Now, the current environment is not one that's optimal for undertaking a capital raise for obvious reasons. Generally, the macroeconomic environment is bad, but beyond that, when you have a catastrophic collapse of the second largest exchange in the world, with the contagion effect bleeding into many additional financial services around cryptocurrency, it's not a great environment to be raising in. But with that said, based on our preliminary conversations and discussions that we've been having, and once again some of the people that are advising and we're communicating with within our own network, we understand that people are interested in what it is that we're doing, interested in participating, um, uh, by participating in some type of capital raise event. I have confidence that we'll be able to identify those sources of capital, in addition to making the expense reductions across our own team as necessary. And again, having the support of our team and being able to do so for whatever period of time or length of time that is, although I do hope that to be relatively short, as well as some other optionality that I won't be extensively discussing here on the town hall today. But the key point is that we once again do have a number of opportunities in front of us. We are still in a position of strength on our balance sheet despite the loss of capital on FTX. And I have strong confidence that we're going to be able to pull through this, um, not only because of our team, but also because of the community and because of the support that everyone's showing us already. So let me pause there for a moment, Santi.
Yeah, Michael, thank you. I just want to say, I think I speak in the name of the whole community that we really appreciate you actually jumping here in a moment like this to just give us the news and let the community ask questions and just share with us. I think it's it's awesome, and it just speaks on how the Stratless team is. So just wanted to say that. And now, Michael, not sure if you have any extra comments, but if we have any questions, yeah, guys, if you're in the audience and you have any questions, we'll be letting people in. But I'll let you close if you have any comments before we jump to that, Michael.
I appreciate it, Santi. If I may just make one additional comment, just in terms of transparency and the communications, I do think it's important to emphasize that it was not easy for us to withhold information over the course of the week, but as these events were unfolding, it was important for us to ensure that we were representing our situation accurately, to the community, and so we obviously delayed any type of communication, although we were preparing for and prepared for this to come out, depending on the outcome of the transpirings of this week. And so here we are today. And I also did want to ensure that I could discuss this with our team intimately before jumping on and having the conversation with the community. So once again, I feel good, at least coming out of the conversation with the team that we had earlier today. And we rolled immediately into one of our regularly scheduled tech demos. There was still a lot of enthusiasm there, and we saw a lot of great updates as well. These are always my favorite calls. We do these once every 3 weeks. They're always my favorite calls to be on, just seeing the progress of development across the ecosystem. But yeah, here we are. So Santi, I think the easiest thing to do or best thing to do is just we're here to answer questions. Probably not too much else needs to be said right now, but happy to be available and offer some reassurance and respond openly to any of the questions that are out there.
Perfect. So I'll start letting people in to ask some questions. If you have questions, please raise your hand. Notcats, welcome to the stage.
Hey, Santi. Thank you for inviting me to talk. Michael, I appreciate you taking the time to let us all know what's going on. Just quick question. I don't know if you can actually answer this or not, but what was the previous runway in terms of years for your guys' current operating expenses, and around what percentage was it cut down to?
It's kind of a complicated question to answer, to be honest with you, because there were other sources of revenue derived through FTX directly, and one of our revenue sources being cut off also obviously negatively impacts the runway. But suffice to say, we were between 20 and 24 months, depending on how we managed our expenses and budgeting previously. We're now certainly less than 1 year. We're probably 9 months or so. Based on all existing ongoing expenses, but obviously those numbers are going to be changing as well. So our objective is certainly to increase runway to get us at least into 2024, and ideally getting us out to 2025. Now, many there are many dynamics to that that can also change. We are optimistic on the recovery of the macroeconomic environment and on crypto markets in general and the impact that that would have on various sources of revenue for us. So many things can change, but if we look just at a snapshot in time based on where we are today, what our spend is today, and what our current existing fully liquid cash reserves are, this excludes any of our balances of Star Atlas assets that we hold in Treasury, which are substantial and amount to a significant amount. Should there be a path to extracting capital as a result of that, then we are looking at between 6 and 9 months probably.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. And just on a quick note, just want to let you know that I think you guys are well aware, but the community totally has your back. We believe in you guys. We believe in the project. We believe in how you guys operate, and I'm pretty sure we're all going to make it still.
Thank you, Nutcats. Thank you. I will let someone else in. Just invited Carl to stage.
Hello.
Hello, Carl. Welcome.
Thank you, Santi. Hi, Michael. Well, my question is very simple. Is about the strategy you have in right now. I know you have so much to talk with the team, but in terms of knowing something in general, can you tell us, as long as you know, what is the strategy now? I mean, maybe focusing in Scream should be easier to recovery. I don't know. Could you tell us something, Michael, please?
Sure. Yeah, we've discussed this lightly. Again, it has been the primary focus of conversations over the course of this week as to any modifications or adjustments that we need to make to roadmap and product development. But certainly one of the areas that we are considering is a refocus of immediate or initial resources into the completion of Sage. For a number of reasons. One, simply because the product development cycle on that is significantly shorter than that of the immersive Unreal Engine client that is in development. But two, because it does also unlock the true economic benefits as it is developed with the entirely on-chain logic that we're bringing out, and would introduce, some of the mechanics that I think are interesting to many of the people that are already participants, namely the ability to participate in play to earn, but all of the also all of the gameplay loops that are associated there. So it's, I would say, challenging for us to accelerate the development of Sage, even if we were to attempt to reposition talent within our team, because the expertise of those individuals that are working on the Unreal Engine client is not the talent that we need for the development of Sage. So we continue to push forward. We continue to push for a timeline on Sage to whatever extent necessary, and where possible, we can reprioritize resources there. But it is important for us to get that online and functional so people can start playing, start having fun, and we believe that could be a growth factor for player acquisition going into the future. I know I've not discussed it heavily in the past. I've alluded to the fact that we also have a mobile division, a mobile companion app that is in development right now. We're looking at a Q1 timeline on that as well, and that introduces some interesting mechanics as well as revenue opportunities for us. So there's a number of things that we're working on. One of the areas that I'm trying to navigate right now, and we are discussing it extensively, is that we've expended countless resources and time attracting and securing some of the best talent from around the world on AAA game development. And the last thing that I want to do is create a roadblock to what the future roadmap looks like there. So we are trying to prioritize here and trying to figure out what the best approach is to ensure that we can keep everyone on board and everyone moving in the same direction with minimal impact to the roadmap.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I think I speak for everyone here, and you have full support of the community. So thank you, and keep going.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Carl. I'll let someone else in. Just invited Lumina to stage. Lumina,
Thank you, Santi. Hi, Michael.
welcome.
Hello.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. for this explanation. This is great. As you know, the sentiment in the market and the community is kind of low, but we are here, and we are not here just for one day. We are here for this project, and that's why we believe in this project. So I was gonna ask a few questions, but honestly, Carl from Chimera and the other guy already answered some of those questions. So I'll be straight with you. I think it would bring an reassurance or some sort of a calming if you can talk about some numbers in terms of, you know, how much startup was lost. And I understand the previous runway was 22 months, and now it's between 9 to 6. Yes, this is sort of a an answer, but if we have some numbers, I think the community will be much more reassured. So that's number one. If you can get some numbers. Number two, I mean, I know it's just happened. It's been a few days right now, and you guys just came back from Lisbon. But what are your plans in terms of creating, raising capital to move forward? And I understand focusing on Sage is one thing, but also this is the third question. With the agreement with Sperasoft, since the agreement was last year, uh, was anything paid to them? What's the situation between Sperasoft and Automata in terms of the Unreal Engine 5 development? Obviously, that would include the capital too. So, was there any payment made to Sperasoft? So these are the three questions. And also maybe the last one. Yes, I don't want to repeat myself. That question already asked, but I think these three are fine. And sorry, it has been really crazy for the past few days. But I'm gonna end with, we still support. We are here not just one day. We are here for the long run. But it would be great if we can have some precise answer to these questions. Thank you.
Of course. So I guess starting with Spheresoft, of course, they were compensated. We do have an exclusive contractual agreement with them, and we've scaled their team up over the course of development. When we originally started with them, we had something like 26 to 28 dedicated personnel. And when I say exclusive, we have a team that is fully dedicated of personnel from Spheresoft that would work with us. Those individuals do not work with any other teams. They were working exclusively with Star Atlas. We started with 26 to 28. We're upwards of 58 to 61 right now. These numbers vary a little bit, but it's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood. And their compensation is purely in the form of cash payments. So I'm not sure if the question was related to any, crypto-based payments or token compensation, but that dynamic does not exist in our relationship with them. So it was a cash payment basis. In addition to Sperasoft, though, we do actually have, we have 7 total co-creation studios that work with us, and they have a variety of expertise and areas that they work on. 6 of those are exclusive to Unreal Engine, and one of those was the team that did the work with us on the WebGL assets for Sage. So I'm not sure if there's anything else you want me to elaborate on there, but we certainly have some flexibility, although once again, we'd like to figure out how we can retain talent and how we can continue onward with the relationship, even if in a reduced capacity for a limited period of time. So I can't give, I think this was and then the question before that one was our strategy to generating capital or raising capital. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, what we want to do is everything that we can to continue to develop out, refine, and enhance revenue streams that flow into us as a company. NFT sales being one of those, obviously marketplace fees being another of those. Any SFT sales, things like the graphic novel, that's another one. And those are largely our forms of revenue today. To whatever extent and possible in the future, naturally, we've been collecting Atlas as a form of payment for all of those NFT sales, and that would be an avenue for capital for us as well. Now, I think, as I've stated, we we're not liquidating Atlas into the market. We were retaining that ourselves, which means that we also hold a position that has a significant negative unrealized loss that we are exposed to as a company. And that was a loss that I was comfortable with dealing with in the short term because we have conviction around what we're building. We have a lot of confidence in ourselves. So it's more challenging. What I can say is even on the tail end of this event, we've not been going out and selling tokens. We still do not have a plan necessarily to sell tokens, although that option would probably exist, particularly in I have to be a little bit careful here. We could structure some deals directly with individual parties to sell direct to high conviction buyers of tokens. That would potentially be an option for us. More importantly, and probably the larger source of capital would be obviously working with some venture capital group. And again, we have a number of relationships there and inroads there, and we'll be initiating those conversations as soon as possible. We've been preparing materials, and we effectively have presentation fully prepared. Probably by sometime later in this evening, we'll be ensuring that we finalize and polish any of that, and then engaging in conversations, whether that starts this weekend or going into next week. Now, with all that said, given the environment, given the likely skittishness of VCs in the space right now, it's very difficult to say, for me to say what the timeline would look like on. Well, our goal would be to get something done in 4 to 6 weeks before the end of the year. No pun intended, but it could very well extend out 3 to 6 months. That's also very possible. Now, we could continue onward at full speed for the next 6 to 9 months, as I mentioned, without making any adjustments whatsoever, and we can make a big bet that we would encounter improved markets and increased demand as a result of all of the product that we're rolling out. That is unlikely to be the strategy that we take. I would like to see us with no less than 12 to 18 months of runway, which puts us in a comfortable position to navigate through the market cycle and get into a more optimistic time for us to more broadly promote and have more features and products available for people to interact with. So that was 2 questions.
And the first one was just the numbers. I think the community will feel much more better if if you can say pretty much honestly, this is the money that we lost, and this was the money that was raised. Really, I mean, straightforward.
Yeah, when you say raised, are you talking about money that we've generated in the form of revenue through the history of the company?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, overall, and also on the FTX. I mean, like because you said there was a liquid cash that you were using, on FTX to, to send it back forth to the back and forward to the bank, and some, yield trades that you guys did. So, how much was it, and how much was kind of stuck in FTX?
Yeah. So we would fund our bank account on a quarterly basis. Unfortunately, that funding would have been coming up at the end of November is when we would have been making that transfer. So we did have a higher balance on there than I originally thought. But in spirit of full transparency, there was just shy of $15 million on FTX at the time.
Okay. All right, Michael, thank you so much. And like I said, we definitely support this project, and we are here. And I really appreciate for your transparency and honesty. Thank you so much.
Of course, and with that said, well, first of all, I appreciate the questions, but with that said, realistically, bringing in $10 to $15 million is not a large amount. It probably sounds like a lot of money to a lot of people that are here present on the call. Admittedly, it is a lot of money. It's not the way that we would have wanted to see those resources get allocated, which is having them essentially lost to fraud. But at the same time, $10 to $15 million is not a lot of money, especially given we've seen months of revenue that were in excess of $60 to $70 million. So different market environment, different levels of demand, and so we have to work through that right now.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I feel much more relieved. It was just 15 mil, to be honest. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lumina.
Thank you, Lumina.
Thanks, Santi.
Michael, do you want to take one more or?
Yeah, we can take one or two
Okay.
more.
Okay. Funcracker.
Hello. Hey, so thanks for having me, Michael, Santi, the whole team. My heart goes out to you. My sympathies. I mean, this is terrible news. I can imagine that is also really affected your colleagues at Automata. And yeah, I, as everybody said before me, a large part, at the very least, the community is standing behind you. We're not going anywhere, and that also ties into my question, because when you say looking for VCs, that is always right. That comes with strings attached and stuff, and in do something. I mean, so right, the community, the bear market, it's not going very well for plenty of people, but perhaps there is still a way we can also step in somehow and make sure we can funnel some money in exchange for, I don't know, something. We'll see. To just like we did, of course, like you guys did in the past with the sales of ships, but perhaps we can come up with something that would be, I don't know, interesting for the community and also interesting to you, bypassing the need for at least a portion of the VC potential for VC funds flowing your way. Is that something? Is that something that passed your conversations or your mind, or is that something that might be interesting to you, or yeah?
It is. So first and foremost, thanks for jumping up. It was great seeing you out in Lisbon, and thank you again for
Likewise.
putting on the community event. That was really a great time and a great opportunity to get to connect face to face with people that we don't ever really get to do. So thank you for that. I will say that we have never taken venture capital in the history of Star Atlas, and it was never really one of the paths that we wanted to take. Now we were fortunate in 2021 to catch a market cycle and present a vision that was very attractive to a lot of people, and so therefore we saw a pretty immediate success in revenue generation. And so while it wasn't attractive for me to go down the venture capital route, we're in a position now where that's probably the most feasible approach to this. In terms of where would I prefer to see equity going? Well, we already have a long-term incentive plan within the company where equity is a component of that for all of the team members that are working with us and building value and building what it is that Star Atlas is. We are discussing right now internally as to whether or not that's a viable approach to offset any uh, any payroll reduction that we may have to implement as a method of retaining employees. So if there is a
Yeah.
payroll reduction, then there's compensation in the form of either equities or tokens, which we do as RTUs or restricted token units, and those get distributed out on a vesting schedule. I'd much prefer to do that for the team. These are the people that are building the product. I would rather them be rewarded for the upside than going to an outside capital source. If
Yeah, that makes
we
perfect sense. Yeah.
if we are able to do that, then we can retain a lot of the talent. We take again, we try to minimize the time frame between now and when we're able to get more into a positive net cash flow position. And in the meantime, our team benefits from that. So, you know, I don't know if that's possible yet. Again, a lot of discussion going on with HR and with legal and what routes we have available to us. Secondary to that, the community has been our strongest supporter. You all have been the ones buying the assets and communicating and participating and contributing to, once again, what Star Atlas will become. This is a sensitive a topic again for me to discuss. I don't want Dan to kill me here. I would love to identify a path where we could get the community involved in this, you know, and I don't know if that option is available. Perhaps it's something that we can discuss, but that would be the next priority for me is how do we figure out a path to enabling the community that's been involved with us for so long to participate in any type of opportunity. So I don't know. I don't know on that. And then, you know, third priority is obviously making sure that we have the cash, that we have the runway, and we have the time to continue building and getting into improved markets once again. So we're navigating all of this live.
Yeah, I completely get that. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to just brainstorm about possibilities. I'm thinking perhaps we can temporarily repurpose the economics channel for people to also perhaps brainstorm from the community side on what we could potentially do or what might be interesting, what is reasonable. But yeah, I completely get that. And once more, I wish you strength, courage, man, and lots of love to you and the whole team. And thanks for being here. Thanks for addressing us. Thanks for writing that announcement that you did. And we are here. And as many people said before me, we're not going anywhere. So let's make this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do sincerely appreciate it, and I just want to offer back in return that we're here and we're not going anywhere either. We'll make the adjustments necessary. We're going to figure this out. We're going to continue building. Nobody's going away. And once again, the response from the team was not a somber one. We had a largely positive response and encouragement in the messages that I've received directly from the team members as well. So we'll see where the chips fall on that one. But I ultimately, despite the scenario, I feel good about our path forward.
Thank you, Michael. Let's take one more.
Sure, one more.
Hello, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Dark times for everyone, so my heart and condolences go out to everyone who's affected by this fiasco, I gotta say. Only question I really have for you is during this sort of time, curious if you'd be, or if the team has thought to re-strengthen or further strengthen the connection with Epic Games and sort of those partners and channel avenues.
Well, our relationship is quite strong with Epic Games. There's not an avenue, I believe, for any form of capital infusion as a result of that, but they've been supportive of us. We have close relationships both with the core Epic group and Unreal Engine team, as well as their separate division, which focuses on Epic Games Store. Both of those teams have been very supportive of us and of our progress. So beyond that, we'll continue to work with them as closely as possible, including, you know, a variety of marketing channels going into the future. But beyond that, I don't know at this time if there's any access to capital, nor do I think that's a high probability.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Sure.
Thank you, Bomber.
Thank you for the question.
Cool. So I think we can close, unless Michael, you want to take one more. If not, we can just close.
I think we can take one more, but I did want to comment because Bomber mentioned this, and I appreciate that he said condolences and sympathy to those that were impacted. I've unfortunately seen a number of messages as well from people who also had Star Atlas assets on FTX, and this is just a despicable chain of events, and I feel deeply sorry for the people who have lost assets on FTX as well. You know, we will recover from this, but I know how impactful that can be to people all over the world. So let me apologize on behalf of FTX to everyone out there, and just absolutely horrible situation for people across crypto.
Yeah. I just want to add to that if you're having a bad moment and you need someone to talk to, you always have us. You have the Star Atlas community. Just never hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you. So that's just never doubt reaching out to anyone from the Star Atlas team or the Star Atlas community.
Definitely.
Yeah. That said, let's take the last one and we can close.
Sure.
Signal, welcome to the stage. I think you are muted. Can you hear him, Michael? Maybe it's me.
I cannot.
Okay. Okay. Then maybe you have push to talk signal. I don't know. If not, I'll let someone else in. We'll count to 5 and let someone else in. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now we can.
I had to switch to my phone. My apologies. Give me 1 second.
It is okay.
Okay, so really terrible news. It really sucks. I'd like to ask this question just so it makes sense to me, as someone who's followed the project, its financials, attempted to model them with great care and detail. By our own admission, we raised over $200 million, selling ships to the community, selling assets to people. And evidently, we lost $10 to $15 million on an exchange, and it cut our existing runway in half. That terrifies me, Michael. It gives me the impression that if that's half, then that's what we have on hand right now. And I don't know how a year into development, making Showroom and starting to work on Scream, we went from 200 million to 10. And I'd just really love some clarity on that and to get an idea of how we got from point A to point B, because it's scary.
Sure, it's a fair question. So first and foremost, Automata is registered in the United States, which means that we do have to pay federal income tax on every dollar of revenue that we generate. And that minimum federal income tax rate is 21%. In addition to that, we have employees across probably 20 to 25 states within the United States, as well as internationally. That's no surprise. That means that we do also have to pay taxes on an international basis, as well as having to pay state income tax on gross top line revenue as well. So that's impactful. That was in the tens of millions of dollars. In addition to that, a major source of revenue for us, no surprise, is in the form of Atlas, right? Arguably, I don't have this specific number offhand right now, but I would say something in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% of our revenue was in the form of Atlas. Atlas, which we did not sell intentionally, because we see ourselves as being one of the utility drivers, as one of the initial token sinks as we continue on with game development. Obviously, token pricing has come down over time. The rates that we were collecting Atlas at inception are substantially lower than what they are today, largely market cycle related. But that means that we do have a significant, as I said, significant negative unrealized net loss on those balance sheet assets. So outside of that, we've been building the company for 2 years now. We've been focused heavily on the AAA game development and scaling up the team over the past year. Yes, that's true, but the cash that is on hand that I'm referring to is the pure liquid cash, either USDC or cash that is presently in our bank in the form of USD. That is cash that I'm considering to be immediately available and accessible to us. Now, we still have some probably 20 million to $30 million in assets in the form of ecosystem tokens, but I do not consider those to be immediately liquid to us. And so therefore, I'm not factoring those in our runway.
Cool. Well, thank you for the answer, Michael. I don't see a reply from Signal, so
Yeah, did we
maybe
lose him?
maybe we lost him.
I don't have any words, guys.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Signal, for the question. So I think it's a good moment to close it. Just before we close, Michael, I just want to, again, I think in the name of the whole community, just say thank you. After an announcement like that, I think not many CEOs will be here speaking directly to the community and taking questions live. So on behalf of the Star Atlas community, thank you, man. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here, co-hosting with me, Santi, as always. You know, again, not what we wanted to be presenting on today, but felt it important to at least be informative as quickly as possible here with the community and openly communicate. Again, our conviction here is still strong. I have enormous confidence in us, and I have enormous confidence that we're going to be able to weather this and come out and emerge on the other side significantly stronger even than we are today. It's optimistic, but that's how I operate, and I'm just speaking the truth. So sincerely appreciate all of the support that you've shown us all along, guys. We're going to be here. We'd love to see your continued support, and we will find a way through this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. This is a great moment to close. So thank you everyone for your support, and we will be here again. We know it's a tough situation for everyone out there. If you just need someone to talk to, we are going to be here. We're not going anywhere. So just thank you so much, and power to the people.
Santi, power to the people.
Yeah.
Well, it will be. I'm out. I'm out of words also.
Anyone want to play some golf?
Be the best thing to do because, yeah, I don't even know what to think.
Well, the sad part about this is that from the sounds of it, he's got a lot of money tied into Atlas coin, which obviously the value of that is reliant on the market, and the market's not very good. So their liquid cash is very slim. So like he said, 9 months, but I mean, I think that they're going to probably lose a lot of staff too, right? Because their output is going to be high in this market because people need to survive. So
Yeah.
that to me scares me the most, just because a lot of this isn't liquid and it's tied up and it's reliant on the prices being good, and the prices are terrible. So if he was to liquidate, he would have basically nothing almost.
apply mega grants.
Yeah, he said 40 to 50%.
No, apply the Epic's mega grant. The game is the Stratos game is not out yet, and Epic is supporting blockchain. And they have openly said this. Even Tim said specifically that he's a supporter of it. While the game is still not out, Star Atlas game itself is a very, very, very unique game, and it's its own kind where it could fit to this mega grant, and they could potentially get a couple of 100,000 to a couple millions, depending on, how they will pitch it. But I think trying does not hurt. It could help. It will help the team in the long run.
Well, of course, but they have to have something to pitch. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this resource amount of funds is going into producing this project, which is years away in development. Like they've got just the beginning hair of this development done, right? And there's
and that's exactly what the mega grant is for. It's for an idea that you put out that is very unique and unique than everyone else. That's what this mega grant is for. You're at the beginning of it, and Epic is helping you with a grant, and they're not asking that money back. They are helping you with this grant to support your project.
well, everybody asks for their money back eventually. It has to have a return of investment.
Oh
somehow.
no, not Epic. They have put aside about $500 million to give away, literally to give away. If you look at, you can check it from, just search it on Google, Epic Mega Grants and how the whole thing works, because I did it before. This is a money that they don't ask you to give them back. This is a money that they are supporting Unreal Engine developers to have their project be completed, and to help them in their process. And because Star Atlas is very unique in this way, the only thing they're asking is the money that they're going to give to you. You will have to pay the tax on it, but they're not asking that money back from you. It is a money that's reserved to these unique projects. So and Star Atlas is a very unique project. I believe that the Star Atlas team can write this really well and pitch it to the mega grants very, very well. It's an option for to get fundings.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not trying to be negative or anything. Like those grants are amazing, and they do have a very fine line of print too, right? Like there's probably a pretty exponential requirement for being approved for it, right? I think that would be the hurdle. And I'm not saying they can't complete it. I'm just saying they're on a time, they're on a hourglass now, right? So that's my concern.
So if now that they're working closely with Epic, and the game is there, I'm sure they can have this done a little quicker than than other smaller projects.
But they aren't working closely with them. They're just using Epic as a launcher. Epic hasn't announced anything on their end that they're supporting Atlas's development or anything like that. Like they're using them. They had to use them through as a third-party launcher to launch the game.
Didn't they have contacts with Epic though? I know they're using it like a Steam, where you publish a game. I just published my own game in Steam, but Epic is the same type of platform. But didn't they say that they actually did work with Epic and they had communications with Epic, which could make the whole grant progress maybe go a little faster?
I think Mandalorian is right in the sense that originally they mentioned the partnership, but they kind of ditched that word, that phrasing later on. And so far as I'm aware, there's no special relationship between Epic and Automata, other than they indeed using the Epic Game Store. I mean, they are probably have some contacts there, but there's nothing special going on between the two entities.
Yeah, I still say it wouldn't hurt for them to try. I mean, at the end, they will get the no answer.
I agree. I agree. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt to try. All I'm saying is that their liquid cash is their blanket, what they need to use to fund the development, which is the core foundation of this project, right? Like coming from a business sense, like I run my own business as well, and I know that having liquid cash blanket is a safety blanket, right? And they need that to produce and develop, and that it's a lot more concerning hearing what he said now of what the number is. Like, yeah, you guys think 15 mil isn't much, but it is, especially when they lost 20% to tax, and they probably they've got a lot tied up in other assets like Atlas and probably Polis and blah blah blah, right? So their liquid fund of what they need to use to build this is very, very small for a large scale project. You know what I mean? Like you look at the project. So Modern Warfare 2 that just launched through Infinity Ward. They just had one of their record launch sales, right? It was almost like $1 billion in 10 days. But the amount of funding it took them to probably produce that project was quite exponential, right? Especially during inflation. So you think of like the time that we're in right now, their expenses are going to be high, and their safety blanket is very low for funding it. That's like a very big concern. It's not something to take very lightly.
Yeah.
I think one thing to consider though is just we are in blockchain, which going to VCs does seem different to us, but Atlas will likely have a decent product in this month or December that they can now more easily pitch an idea to a VC firm, which they haven't gone to yet, which, like Wagner was saying, raising $10-15 million may not be that difficult if you show the quality of what Atlas is building, which is beneficial because of its high quality and the team that they've had and the track record they have so far. That may really go a long way to raise, especially if they want to maybe allocate some of the team's Polis or the team's Atlas that they we're going to hold for their company standpoint. Like, I don't know what their thoughts are, but they have a basket of these tokens that maybe they are or even stock in just Automata. Like, there's really lots of avenues they could go down in just the VC venture side with a really good product to show for, not just the idea. I think it'd be a much easier pitch with a product than an idea to a VC firm. Yes, it is going to be a little more difficult in the current environment, but there's a lot of things going for them in that avenue, which they haven't tried yet. And just like all these traditional games, that's all they do. They raise, $100 to $200, $300 million, well, maybe $200 million to build one of these massive games, and they do it all through VCs. So that's typically how these other games are, how they fund them. And then on the backside, they get paid out based off of those revenues from the game sale. So there'd be lots of how everything gets paid out at the end when a game is actually launched, full launch. There's lots of things that they would have to consider, but anyways, I still think the VC side doesn't sound like an avenue that is too scary, just different for all of crypto.
Sigi, you're absolutely right, but I mean that's the only thing. Honestly, probably that's their only option. They have to go to venture capital. I think that 15 million, that's personally nothing. My concern is actually that 40-50% of Atlas, because that's an unrealized negative loss for the company. And yes, they are building for the past 2 years. Plus, they have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he said $20 million in the ecosystem tokens. I mean, SRM, Oxy, Sol, whatever. So, I mean, those are down too. That 15 million FTX, I don't think that's that that critical. With the obviously including of the tax that they have to pay 21%, and also they have multiple employees throughout the world. I mean, the entire world in different states and countries with different tax payments and whatnot, which would be roughly, I would say, 10 to 12 million dollars by looking at their employee count. I'm more concerned about that 40 to 50% outlets, because that's an unrealized negative loss, and with the current state of the market, that's like I mean, you can only hope, right? But we are still bullish with the project. We believe in the project. There's no issue about that, and I'm glad that he answered some questions about the Sperasoft site, which is great. But that 40 to 50% outlets, and then 20 million ecosystem tokens, plus the 15 mil that was lost in FTX, it is concerning. I mean, it is concerning. And I'm being completely honest with you. And there are the Startless team members are here too, Santi, Dominic, others. I mean, I don't mind. I have mixed feelings right now. And I'll be honest with you. Am I satisfied with the answers that I got? I would say 80% satisfied. There's that 20% still there. I didn't ask, hey, Michael, let's see the balance sheet. Maybe that's what Atamata should do. It's just like Binance. And just release the balance sheet so that people are not, concerned this much. I mean, everybody already in a really bad sort of a feeling right now due to the market and what happened to FTX and Alameda. It's only gonna make things worse if we don't see an actual numbers. So that's why I wanted to ask that question multiple times.
Sorry to interrupt, but I kind of disagree with that. I think that
Okay.
if he was, like, respectfully, obviously, but if he was to release, think about this, if he was to release a balance sheet right now, like, what do you think would happen? Do you think he would that would get used against him? Yes, 100% it would. Like, by every other project that's out to get us. And what would it solve, really? Like, it would just deter investment. It would cause a lot more issues, I think. I think keeping some cards close to yourself is definitely the way Michael's going to play it, and I don't disagree with that strategy. Obviously, yeah, that was a pretty. With the comment that he said that they were, because I remember reading it in the foundation room when Mr. Tixel kind of brought up the worry about FTX, and he said that the team was kind of monitoring it, and to me, why that they left it till the point that, like, he couldn't get anything out, I don't really understand that strategy. Like, if I had 15 million or whatever in liquid with an exchange and there was smoke happening, it would be a top priority, no matter what you're doing, presenting, whatever, to get that money out of there so you can salvage the safety blanket of the company, right? So I don't know. We didn't get a lot of clarity on that, and maybe Michael has probably a good response to that. But for me, like, that's a pretty big priority, especially the market that we're in. It's just, like, insanely crazy lately, and I just don't think that having that risk exposure is worth it. And from what I had understood when he made the comments in the foundation room was that they didn't have a lot of risk. Like, I mean, obviously there's going to be some risk, but that kind of risk is very important, because, like, okay, we're comparing cash to say, how you guys are talking about the 20 million or whatever, 50 million, or the Atlas coins and then the other coins in the ecosystem. But guess what? Like, say, as a ballpark number, he invested 50 million or whatever into those assets. Those assets are all down 90%. Those assets aren't valued at 50 million anymore. They're valued at like 5 to 10, right? Like, you know what I mean? So the liquid is even less than projected in a sense, because those fluctuate with the market, and the market's down exponentially, right? So, I mean, some clarity on that would have been nice. Like I would have liked to understood why they left their money in FTX if they were getting that much smoke around it. It's like, you know, when the 2008 market crash happened, when there was the mortgage back, the bank was doing the shady like stuff behind the scenes, and they got caught wind of it. Like everybody started kind of making moves to get their money safe, right? So that's my concern, I guess, but it's too late now. But.
Yeah, I completely sympathize with both of you. I mean, so I completely understand Lumina's sentiment of just show off the balance sheet and right that we can at least follow along better and understand better what happened with the money, because as Signal was asking, from the 200 million to 15 million is like a huge. Means,
the numbers doesn't. The numbers doesn't really match up that easy. I mean that.
Well, I mean, if you take into account,
the numbers match up fine. Like it works out for me.
I don't think so. I mean, because if you think about it, $20 million raised, and between 5 to 8% was gone, and then somehow we lost, close to 80% of.
No, but they have to pay taxes on the Atlas.
Right, I understand that.
So it's
which
like
is still,
it's like 65 million gone, and then
absolutely
100 million of Atlas goes to zero. That's 35. That means they would have spent like 10 to 15 million in the past year.
Absolutely, but also, I mean, I would keep everything in bank, and also the liquid. If you want some liquid money,
of course, but the numbers match up. The numbers are fine. Like
I agree.
And there's nothing wrong with the numbers.
I saw people who were angry or something, stating like, why is it at FTX and everything? But they, of course, had a partnership with FTX. FTX has been around helping Solana, right? Or helping Solana dApps. I mean, I kind of get, right? And you can have all kind of opinions on that, and especially in hindsight, completely get that. But yeah, I mean, FTX was an institution that was helping both Solana. They were not in any position that they could not retrieve the money overnight, or at least like it was locked very long, if I understand Michael correctly. Apparently, him being in Lisbon, and I'm not sure what exactly mentioned. Like he could not reach his contact, or the backup plan somehow did not work out. That's why the money was locked longer than he would have liked, and that's why they were too late. But yeah. Anyway, I also completely get Mandalorian's point, and I agree with that. Business savvy wise, it would not be smart probably to release that balance sheet. And as Jon pointed out, I did not yet do the math myself, but I'm pretty sure he's quite savvy with that. If he says it checks out to him, I feel inclined to believe that. So yeah, it's just I think we can go on for a long time why they did something. I think that doesn't really help much, if anything.
Well, it doesn't being mugged.
The only thing is they could OTC Atlas to community members, and they would be able to like carry losses backward and get like a chunk of their money back from last year.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a plan indeed.
That would take a long time to do that, but that's definitely an option. But yeah, and I'm not trying to shit on them or anything like that. I know that things happen, and obviously they probably made effort too, but it was probably harder than what we think, right? Like look at China and how their banking system's going right now with how people. One of the companies, like just as a reference to FTX, it's like too big to fail kind of thing, right? And they get overextended, and then they get into some risk, and then all of a sudden they can't pay back, and all these people are paying mortgages to houses that aren't even built, right? So it happens to big companies, and they think they're too big to fail, and then that happens, right? Because they're not responsible in a sense of they get greedy. Let's be honest. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, this is not like flooding anything. Like I love the project, and a lot of you somehow, maybe at least some of you know me in this space. We definitely believe in this project, invested so much. We love the vision and everything, and it's just at some point it is really hard to keep the community at ease when you can't really see everything in a crystal clear picture. So. I mean, yes, maybe the math makes sense for you. Maybe for now, I'm kind of, maybe I'll go over it and it might make sense. Actually, I recorded the whole thing. I'm going to go over it and check if it does match or not. But I mean, the only thing that we can do and here's another thing: if they don't get funding or acquired, which they might get acquired too. I don't know. I mean, there are a few things that. Anyway, I'm not in a good mood right now.
On how much could actually be like capital could be raised within the community to get them to say a solid 12 months, 15 months. Could the community raise that? And could we even just in in one of these channels kind of discuss on how much maybe we could raise? Just that'd be interesting if we could get to like even 1 year mark. That'd be quite a lot more than 6 to 9, right? And then if we're 1 year, November, December next year, we're through the preseason. We're getting season 1 should be season 0 should be pretty much completed at that point, and a lot more game has been created. So I'd be curious, like how as a community we could actually raise capital to get to that 1 year marker, and I think that would be a lot more beneficial to kind of have conversations around that of how can we get to that. What is our immediate finish line that we're kind of trying to strive toward, and how do we get there? And simple things like how do we create less negativity in the ecosystem. One thing for me, like maybe not scalping ships so low so that things look like they're on fire sales. Like even though that could be a benefit to me if I was to buy cheaper ships, maybe you don't do so much of that, and then ship prices don't move as much, and then people don't get as worried as much. Same thing on the Atlas and Polis. Maybe people that have been trading a lot and scalping and shorting or whatever they may have been doing, maybe as a community, everyone that's cares about the project may do less or not as much of that, and just in a window of time, we all kind of agree that we're trying to do everything positive in an upper manner. So I don't know. Those are just some thoughts. I know everyone's gonna have their own.
I'm Fun Creator.
I love the
kudos to him. I think that's a great idea. I think we should definitely have that a channel on Discord about raising to the occasion as a community. However, that is still it's just an extra thing that we can do, but that's not ultimately fix everything. So, but yes, I think that's a great idea. We should definitely look for options. But
I love the sentiment, Siggy. Right, this is exactly what I also proposed. I do get that it might be too early for people who feel hit by a truck right now to think like how could they potentially help. There should of course also be room for people to share their frustration, irritation, and whatever other emotions they experience. But I agree. Personally, I don't think it will be possible at all to try to persuade people to not do that kind of behavior. I mean, even before this news, people already joined the fire sale because people are personally affected, right? They just might sometimes just have to get out, or and also we have only a very small part of the community here. There's a whole long tail of people who don't really follow along that much, but just trade or just do whatever they want. I was more thinking, and this is absolutely not fleshed out either, but more thinking to the extent, can we do like a fundraiser in the sense that, right? I mean, Stratos is making a whole bunch of ships. So far, the intent was that all of these ships will be constructible in game. Why not have a ship that is not constructible in game? For example, perhaps with, I don't know, at least like a badge of the ship would be a badge of honor if you would have joined this, or perhaps we can do some other interesting stuff with that. I don't know, but I would look for perhaps, I don't know, something the team can sell that is something that is actually interesting to us in the game, and is limited and is like also shows that you were there in this, let's say, difficult moment, which might help people to join in on that. But yeah, again, just a super rough idea. I hope there will be many others, because the more the better, and hopefully we can find something that will work to help the team. Yeah.
Are you lot smoking crack? You
Hey,
think someone,
Major
you think
Easy, welcome
you think
back, mate.
yeah, you think someone's going to buy something?
Yes, I will buy
Atlas
something.
now.
Yes, I will buy something. Thank you, Major Easy.
Wow.
Thank you. Yes.
Wow. So where's the 100 million? Where's the money gone? Did they explain that?
Did you check the recording? Please check the recording, mate.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he explained it was caught up with the FTX and FTX kind of overextended themselves and obviously they got liquidated, right?
Idiots for leaving it in FTX. So you're prepared to trust them with more money after
Exactly
they've
my
left it there,
point.
when
Yes,
it was
and
clearly a fucking scam. Once it came out, all that bullshit about FTX US is okay. They should have got the money out straight away.
And they tried, right? Listen to the recording, mate. They mentioned this stuff.
Oh, mate, it's at best it's incompetence, right? At best, this is insane.
I have to agree with Easy here.
You're gonna give them more money. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you this though, and this is just for our community in Coexist. This Monday, the 7th, I personally literally sent out an announcement message to our entire members. I literally told them, you know what? There is some rumors going on with XTX Alameda. It wouldn't hurt to remove your funds from FTX. And that was on Monday. And luckily, majority of our members moved their assets from FTX. So if a guild is capable of doing this, no offense, this is a mistake on their end. And I mean, yes, I love the project. I love the vision and everything, but this is a really critical mistake that any kind of a company should do. And, because at the end of the day, it wouldn't hurt to move those assets from one place to another. It's not that hard.
But you're talking about your combined assets of like probably, I don't know, say under 100K. We're talking about $10 million or more, right?
Still 15. Though.
It's a lot of money to just be liquidating, pulling out of there, and maybe it was going in behind the radar before anything was even mentioned, right? Like if they went to try and remove that money, they might have said, no, sorry, we can't right now. Give us a week or something, right? Like you never really know what the details were. I agree with a lot of people here. Like I think that Mr. Easy, I get what you're saying. It is a level of incompetence having your arms stretched out far enough it can be cut off. You know what I mean? And Fun Cracker, I like your idea of trying to raise capital, but see, there's imperfections with this because they've already been given a very large ordeal of our money already, which is our money funding this project mostly, right? And they have risked it in a sense, right? Like I'm not saying that it's in high risk, but clearly it was in enough risk that it was liquidated, and we just lost a very crucial part of our safety blanket for the development of this project. So, and for us to turn around and go, well, what can you give us in confidence that's going to make us feel more justified by investing our money with you? What can you give us to make us unique in the game? But like in sense, guys, the game has to be developed first, and that takes years. Like Kieran, yeah, he took his shots at our project and stuff like that, and he wasn't wrong in a lot of ways. Like this project is a very large undertaking and a very large budget project, and we do not have a large budget. And even to begin with, 200 mil was probably not even enough to begin with, and then and now some of it's been risked and it's gone, right? So that's a very big concern.
I can't really agree on that because I remember in the previous town halls that they had, Michael mentioned, they secured the money to continue to develop the project. And I think a similar thing happened to, if you remember the previous town halls back in when the Luna incident happened. And again, at that time, I literally asked, was Star Atlas or Automata exposed to this? And he said, no, all of our assets are great in condition. We are still good to go. And we weren't affected at all. But now it's not the same situation. And and I don't think that 200 million would be sufficient enough to build it. Yes, in the future there would be more, a capital will be raised, an additional, expansion packs or whatever will be raised and created. But and this is coming from a person that was probably one of the, the top, backers of this project. I definitely defend the project at every platform that I can. So
Yeah, and even a few days ago in the foundation room, he said they had no material exposure to FTX.
Yeah.
So is that a lie or what? It just doesn't
I
add up,
remember.
right?
I mean,
They
that's what I
said
was
they
saying.
had no material exposure.
And
Those were Wagner's words.
Yep, easy.
Right?
And I didn't want to mention it in the just to be nice, because I only ask just give us the numbers. But yes, I remember that, and you know what? That's why the numbers doesn't really match up for me, and the comments that was made before. I still love the project, and maybe they are just kind of concerned right now. They're panicking, and the time frame is too short. They're trying to come up with a solution, and that's why there was some sort of miscommunication, maybe. But
Well, his
some
words
things
were
doesn't add up.
his words. Michael's words were, "We are aware and have limited exposure to any sorts of risk in the current market. I may still maintain confidence in FTX and believe any relationship between Alameda and FTX is largely isolated." So his words were they had limited exposure to any sorts of risk, right? So that's why a lot of us are really kind of dumbfounded, because from my understanding, and I've been to every town hall and read through the foundation room extensively, and I do remember him stating multiple times that they had limited exposure, which means like you do not have anything more than, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this quote, but like less than 5% of your liquid exposed to anything like that. And especially in a platform like FTX, like in an exchange, why keep it there? What's the benefit? There's got to be some sort of benefit of why they were keeping it there, but to me, I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe someone can answer it better. But
Yeah, they had short-term, low-risk yield on FTX. So yeah,
I'm curious.
It makes sense. Like you would put your money in the bank to get some interest. In this case, they had some what should have been low risk, low yield assets on FTX. But yeah, FTX proved to be not so low risk in the end.
So under these circumstances, I mean, I don't think it's a really bad question to ask for a balance sheet. It's just it will make everything really easy for everyone to grasp what's going on. I mean, that's it.
But what's it gonna solve for you though? Like in a sense, like I'm not
the
questioning
trust in
you.
the
I'm just
project
curious.
and the trust in the project and the trust into the team. We love the team. We love Michael, the Celtic, everybody. But at the end of the day, we've seen someone. I mean, who could have guessed just a few months ago that the number 2 exchange in the world will collapse and go bankrupt? So many people.
Well, I mean, if you look at everything that's going around in the world, there's just not really that far fetched, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, still though, if I tell you right now, Binance is gonna go bankrupt next year, how many people will believe?
Who knows? Maybe they have money tied into the real estate in China. Like they're a Chinese company, man,
Still,
aren't they?
I mean, we have freaking semi-banks NFT on the Star Atlas marketplace. That guy is probably gonna go into jail. So this is how much we, as a community, all of us, trusted Alameda Research and FTX. And we love Star Atlas, but by saying we have limited exposure, and then this, I mean, this is the first time I'm actually talking like this much negative about Star Atlas. I'm always so positive. I
think
just
it
want to
doesn't-
see the real picture. That's all.
Lumina, I don't think it makes sense to release the balance sheet because it doesn't really make strategic sense because none of us have an impact on the execution of that balance sheet. And what they're trying to get out of getting that balance sheet is trust. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I want from them is I want to see their plan of custody going forward. I want to see how they plan to take control of their keys, because they just learned that they shouldn't be breaking the first rule of crypto is hold your own freaking keys, dumbass.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is what they need to communicate is how are they going to hold their money so that, because you never know, it could have something wrong with traditional banks, could bind them up. SEC could freeze some of their assets in Delaware. You never know, right? So I think that they need to communicate their custody solution going forward. And then that would bring a lot of trust.
I agree. Yeah,
Yes,
I agree with that.
exactly. This is also what I want to know, what they learned from this, and yeah, how they gonna start their funds now. Because I mean, you are right. Nobody expected this that FTX will go bankrupt. I also didn't expect this. I also have very small amounts of money locked there right now. But the point is, you just don't put half of your runway on one single exchange.
Yeah, and you don't. You look. It's your keys. It's unbelievable, right? It's not your keys, right? You know, come on. That's fucking schoolboy stuff. $200 million, and you've left it on an exchange. Even if you say it's $100 million, it's just there's no excuse for it. You know, it's just ridiculous.
I feel the same
Yeah,
way
that's
like
tough.
Mr. Easy, unfortunately.
It's tough. It is tough, and obviously he made a mistake, and he did mention in the thing that he had more in there that he wanted from the beginning, I think, and there was some complications of getting it out, which I don't really remember what they were, but I just think that
Well,
yeah,
the thing
I
is
mean we're all
sorry,
in this together. Like we're all
very,
in this together, and you know, yeah, obviously throwing money at them right now doesn't seem realistic at all, and but they have to come up with money somehow to go forward with this. Like you said, he's got months remaining, and if they run out of time and money, well, the project basically comes to a standstill, right?
I would vote to to stop selling the ships in Star Atlas and just use USDC. At least he's got capital on that, and he doesn't have to worry about Star Atlas and sell it in the market. As we
Yeah,
know, it's all
nobody's
down,
buying
isn't it?
developer ships though. They're too expensive.
Yeah.
Bring the price down. They should at least I don't know, put the price down at minimum.
Well, he said that will be a new roadmap that they're going to be working on. So, you know, we'll
Don't make the ships too expensive. I mean, in the beginning when it all started, I know it was a bull market, and you see how much they raised the money just by selling the ships, and all of it was in USDC, if I recall.
Yeah, but what do you think is going to happen when they undercut all the ship prices for these ships they've created, and people bought them in the bull market, and now they're cutting them down 80%? Like it's not going to make their, like, you got to think we're their fans, right? We're their backers, sole backers right now, and if we're not supporting the fact that they're going to cut the ships that we've already purchased in 90%, that's going to have a very bad taste in people's mouths, especially the big boys, like some of the people in the club and Bodie and stuff like that. That's going to leave a very bad taste in their mouth, and where are they going to get their money? It's going to be from us, from their supporters. It's not going to be from outside. Like, do you think anybody outside is going to be coming into this project and being like, oh yeah, let's join this project that just lost 15 million of their liquid cash to an FTX scandal? No, it's like anybody that's smart and wise with investing, they know these things, right? They do their research before they do it, and if they see that kind of stuff coming up, it's gonna take a while to blow over. And I think that we can't really rely on new money coming in from outside sources unless they get a grant of some sort. But that's gonna be tough too, because whenever they give out a grant or a company goes and pitches their product, one of the first, like, I know for myself, I run a construction company, and the first thing they look at is bonding. They look at, like, somewhat look at my balance sheet of my company and how it's run and how much liquid and how proficient we are. Because if we fail under contract while building the project, if we fail, it's on them, right? So you got to remember, the company will look at that. They don't just give them money and be like, okay, yeah, go develop this. Because like think about it, they would just have a bunch of people that come in with an ambition and then no work ethic, and they just destroy their whole supply of money because they just fail every time. They're not going to do that. They're not that stupid. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to undercut what your statement was about Epic or whatever, but these companies are huge for a reason, and they make smart decisions when it comes to building and developing and relying on what the market wants, right? Like this game is very close intertwined with a current game that's already out there, and that game is not based on NFTs. But it raised a ton of capital, and it took 11 years to build. 11, and it's still building. It's not even released yet. You know, and that's
I mean, honestly, don't get me wrong, but I'm really sick and tired of this Star Citizen example. I mean, we all know that, but the space that we are in right now, it's not the same thing. I mean, back in 2000,
okay, so what would you compare who played
that game. Well, you can't really, and I don't have any. See, here's the thing. I don't have any issues with the development side. Like, and by the way, that grant money that was suggested, that was Jima. That wasn't me, but he's one of our members in a guild, and he's the one who actually built the Star Atlas community game on Unreal Engine 5. I mean, we have some people who are subject matter expert in Unreal Engine, and we can see the development and especially with the things that happened during the Solana breakpoint event. What we've seen was great. No offense.
Oh, and I'm not saying it wasn't. It's great. It is great.
But
I'm completely backing that up. I'm just saying, as a development standpoint, there's got to be a structure to the company and development side of things, because like, how they're developing through an outsourced company. Well, they have to pay that company, and that basically expedites their development. And obviously, the technology now. The only reason I use Star Citizen is because it's a very close comparison in the type of genre game it is, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing else really like it. And you're right in that sense that it is very unique, or your companion said. But they need a foundation. They need a lot of liquid cash, and it has either that or have an ongoing revenue source from something. And it's not from ships, because not a lot of people are buying them. So, like what I'm stating is that yes, the technology is a lot better now than it was 11 years ago or 12 years ago when they started building that game. And they did it similarly, like the showroom module and showcasing ships, and then people purchase them for real money. The only difference is here is that we are actually able to make money, and there's obviously a lot different structure to this project. But nonetheless, it needs backing and needs funding, right? So, and that's kind of what I was getting at. And
yeah. I mean, and I'm
but it is great what they've done, and I'm not trying to offend. It is great what they've done. I'm just hitting with straight factual evidence and actual factual, concrete ways that we can actually discuss how that this is going. Like, obviously, they're having their internal discussion, but I mean, we are the ones that provided all the money for this project mostly, right? Besides a few companies as well and stuff like that. So we have to come up with a strategic response to how we can help push this forward, because we're all in this. It's either you're in it or you're not, and you just walk away now and you've taken a big loss, which, why just roll over and die, right? Like, why wouldn't we just back them up, try and help as much as we can? Obviously, like I mean, I put a lot of cash into this, and I don't have a lot left to be dumping into something, especially if they have risk exposure like this and not really, they weren't really fully transparent, I guess you could say, right? Because like, yes, he said those words and stuff, but that was very gray area, and now we're here, right? So we'd have to make sure we could trust that they are going to have the best intentions of the development of the project with the money they have, because you can't rely on Atlas money and other coins money, because crypto is very volatile, and who knows what's going to happen until it gets regulated, right? So if we're going to come up with strategic plans, like obviously, like Mr. Jeezy said, there is like, we're not going to just throw money at them again and, repeat this process without a very good structured procedure coming. Like, what are we going to do that's going to make sense? And it has to make sense, and it has to be in a safe place for this to work.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
I think the biggest thing they can do right now is focus on making a fucking thing that people can play and use the NFTs that we've been buying. Because right now I've got a whole bunch of pixels that I really like and I like the future of, but what the fuck am I doing with it? Nothing. And I think that as soon as they get Scream out there and they get more people in our system, you know, we had 600 people in the meeting today. That's not going to bankroll the game, right? No way. And so you just need more people in so that the economy of the game and the revenue source of the game can get growing. And then they can start focusing on building little fires that build into bonfires instead of stacking half a forest and then lighting it all in one go.
Yeah, like I think I think you're onto something with that. I think their biggest win right now would be Scream and the way they release this, in a sense that maybe there can be some sort of room for revenue gain from this. Like maybe not from the people that have already invested, or even maybe a little bit, like with the market fees and stuff like that, but that's not going to be enough for them to gain enough capital to continue building for a 12-month span, right? Like I think that if they can release a really good polished version of this Scream, it would be enough to kickstart the funding for the UE5 project, because that one's a lot more demanding, right? And I think
realistically, though, it wouldn't, right? Because if you look at where we are, they're talking about releasing an alpha test version on DevNet this year. So you've got to think they're, with their full capacity, 3-6 months away from releasing a game onto kind of the LiveNet. And who's going to buy an NFT from Star Atlas to fund it now, given what's gone on? That's the problem, is the reality of kind of where they are with that game. Now, I kind of agree with you, though, right? The best option, hope we've got, is that they can deliver something that can get some people and raise some revenue. But you're right, that's not going to raise the money to kind of keep them going. They need, to build a game needs a shit ton of money. They had a shit ton of money, it's disappeared. And the VC capital's not going to be there, because who would give money, a VC give money to a company that whoever's head of finances has left it on an exchange? That's
VC,
kind of, it's
VC
all of
capital,
these things.
VC capital angel investing is not sustainable. They need a sustainable model for revenue, and the only way they do that is by delivering a product or a service.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the long term.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do have something going, though, and I do think that the Scream product can be very good on their end, and I think that if they double down on it, which is Funcracker was saying, that they did mention they're going to double down on it, which is a very strategic and smart move on it, like in my opinion, because I think that if they can capture and gain some momentum with a product, then I think it would help kind of turn the tides a bit and stop focusing on sales of NFTs that have no actual value right now. You know what I mean?
I agree, but it's such a niche thing, right? A web browser RTS space game. How many people are they going to get? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. They've got to try something, right?
But that's like what else option do they have, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Like close to product. I mean,
yeah, the UA,
obviously
the
they're
thing hasn't got a way of raising any money.
Not yet, no.
Have some kind of economics loops that they could add into just the racing module and the dogfighting. Just something simple that actually would have kind of some burn mechanism. Because that's the exciting one to me. Like the UE5 experience is going to draw more heads and turn more heads just through advertisements and stuff like that than the Sage will. Sage is going to add that economic loop, but is there any way we could add some simple economic loop to UE5 sooner than later?
True, but I mean, how long are people going to just race around on an X4 though? Like okay, we got to think about the actual time frame we've got. So he said 6 to 9 months, but realistically, let's say like that's probably pushing it a bit. I think they're probably around the 6 month mark with the current market we're in, right? Just to play it safe. Okay, and then so you got 6 more months of development. They just did their showcase at Breakpoint, which they do have a little bit of a racer and decent amount of graphics, but they've got to implement a lot of things. And in 6 months, it goes very quickly. And I think they would be basically putting all their eggs in that basket for it to succeed in order to bring in extra revenue for the company, for the project to survive. Which that's a pretty big what if, you know what I mean?
And didn't he mention there in the town hall just now that they third-partied out the graphics work for the WebGL? I thought they'd done that in-house.
No. There's one of those 7 studios is actually working on that. They mentioned that during a town hall. I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll get dinner. One thing that I have to give kudos to when Mandalorian said, what's their gain? I think what their gain is, they have a great community here, a great community that supports them. So, and I'm not saying they are not transparent. Actually, it is really hard to find any other Web3 project out there that has a town hall and an Atlas brew every week and gives updates. So on that, I think they're doing great. But I think I just personally need some more time to kind of grasp this and think about it. So I'm gonna take off. You guys have fun. Peace.
See you later.
Thanks for coming, mate. See you.
Absolutely.
I agree with what he's saying, and I do believe that we do have a strong community, and I love the team through and through, and that's not at all my intention is to put anything down. I'm being realistic in the sense that at the end of the day, the project relies on its cash flow and its development, right? And when that's gone, then there's
nothing.
What do you think? Everybody's just going to stick around and be like, oh well, we really like these guys.
That's why we are concerned. Yeah.
No, yeah, but in the end, they've got a great idea. They've created some very unique and very amazing things in the time frame that they've been given, and I'm not discrediting that at all. But I just I hope that they can come up with a good action plan on what their 6 to 9 months looks like, and it's going to be very expedited in a sense that this is basically their one shot, right? And listen, every company has gone through its growing pains. Look at Elon Musk with Tesla; they almost failed multiple times. And he told his investors that it's 70% chance he'd fail, but guess what? They believed in them. So and we are here because we believe in him. Not 500 people didn't show up to the town hall because we're all out to get him, and it's going to be a big undertaking for them, and it's going to be very stressful. But if they can work together in a stressful environment and kind of cut down on resources they're putting outbound and try and get them internally, I think that they would benefit largely from that, because in-house is always going to be cheaper than having a third party do it, right? So I mean, this is obviously up to them, and hopefully they can take some of our insight and we come up with some good insight for them to help them kind of get through this. But yeah, it's unfortunate they made the mistake of the exposure like they did, and I mean, it's what's done is done. But I still have full belief, and I'm not pulling any of my assets. But it is what it is.
We feel the same way, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just concerning. I mean, we are still, none of us sold their ships. We are still staking, and actually, we really invested a lot. But
can I say something about the ships?
Anyway, I'm leaving. I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Okay. Here's
and Craig, let's get back to our Discord. We need to talk a lot.
Yes, we will. Here's the reality. Not all of us, but some of us or most of us bought those ships from its original price. and I have been keeping all my ships since the beginning. I haven't sold a single one of them. Us putting a continuous blame will not help the project to go anywhere. At this point, I would suggest all of us as a community continue to support and help Star Atlas team in the best way possible, where we can help them to bring this project to a much better place. That would be my suggestion. But yeah, I mean, we're a really good community. We should continue it to be a good community. I do believe in Wagner and the whole team of Star Atlas. I'm sure they will find a way, no matter what. We just need to be more positive towards them to help them, so they don't feel they are all probably feeling terrible as enough, so that they don't feel as terrible to not continue. We just want to give them more support so that they can do their job 200%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I have every concern everyone else does. I'm just trying to think of the most positive things. A few other positive notes maybe to look at is we're kind of lucky that they did the pivot for Scream the way they did. So it's not just a web-based 2D kind of version of the game. It actually is going to be something that looks really good and would be probably really fun for other people to come see and play. And so that's awesome. They could possibly stop production of all other ships in UE5, which could save on manpower and resources, and just kind of allocate to polish off what they have and continue the game environment, and maybe just create less ships than that 150 that they wanted to build out. I'm not sure how far in development they are of other ships. Those are just some thoughts I've had, but yeah, definitely everyone just keep positive. Obviously everyone's thinking the negative things, and let's just keep grinding, keep building, and I love everyone's opinions though.
Make sure everyone's got cold storage. That's what everyone should be doing, thinking about it. Save your assets.
Well, yeah, but you can cold storage assets, but it doesn't mean they'll have value eventually, right? That's the concern.
Yep.
But no, I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow, guys, and there's no easy way around this. But I've got faith. They are very intelligent individuals, and I hope they can pull us through this. And all we can really do is try to help them in any way we can. But yeah, it sucks.
Yep, well said, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off for the night, but you guys take it easy, and I'll see you in the chat. It was good talking to you guys, and my condolences for anybody that's been impacted by the FTX thing.
That's everybody.
Well, yeah, but I meant like directly, like if they had assets in there, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I agree. I get it.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care, man.
Good night, everybody. Get some rest. It's a lot of info to digest, so take some time to rest. It's just been a crazy week and a half, so
Yep.
Good night.
Just that.
I'm gonna head back to AFIA, guys.
Good night. Good night.
All right, folks. Take care. The best to all of you.
On the positive side, though, everybody that's selling ships now have to pay the fees, so we're making some money on fees.
That's a silver lining.
So, did the world end?
Yes, it's over. Everything is lost. Do we play PUBG now, or?
I need to play some game. Cesc, Nude, say something. Give me some.
I'm eating my burger. Yeah, I have been listening to this, and I'm really moved
for everything that you guys have been saying here. It's a dark day for Star Atlas as a whole, for our dream for sure. But we didn't give up. I guess this is the most important message for everyone here in this chat. Sanity, Dominic, everyone in the Star Atlas team. This is more than a job for us. Like, we know that this time will require sacrifices from our side. We are sorry that those sacrifices are being somewhat imposed to you guys as well. And this is not what we wanted after so many releases and developments that we showed you guys in Breakpoint. We were super excited, super happy that we managed to accomplish this new phase. But this serves as motivation, We already put a lot of hours of work every day, and you guys can be sure that we are going to put even more now. I won't accept anything other than success from Star Atlas, This game, this reality, this project is much bigger than just a simple game or something, silly to entertain ourselves. I really believe in the message of our project. I really believe in empowering people, especially people that come from third world countries like I do. And we'll do our best, guys. We'll do our best. We'll search for every and single opportunity that there is. We won't be defeated by something like this. We won't be defeated by a guy who scammed the whole crypto space. And no matter what it takes, I'll be together with you guys here every day. I'll do everything in my power to bring solace and to answer questions and to be together with you guys. I'll work twice as hard to the limits of my capabilities. I know everyone in Star Atlas team is feeling the same. Screen is coming. It's looking fantastic. We had the demo today. We watched the progress in the game. It's absolutely crazy how cool it is, The game is there. The talent is here in this team. We have people like Chipto, like Brad. We have many. We have everything to succeed, and we won't be beaten by this situation. This hardship will serve to bound us together, to sharpen our fangs and our claws, and we'll go through whatever is necessary to make Star Atlas the game that you guys all dreamed on. I'm really sorry for this turn of events. This is not what we like it. That's not what we wanted, but we'll pass through this. If it depends on the Star Atlas team, you guys can be sure that we'll do whatever it is within our capabilities. And even if it requires 110%, we'll do like whatever it takes to get us there. I really love this game. I love this community. I came from this community, and I still hold every single ship that I had. I never sold any ship. I never sold a single police. And we'll see this future together, guys. We'll see this future together. That's just what I wanted to say today.
Awesome, Jose. I can only agree with that. We are here, guys. We are not going anywhere, and we'll work 10 times as hard now. I myself could not be more motivated. I feel like right now it's the most motivated I have ever been, and we are here. We are here. We can take the questions. We will be here, putting the face just like Michael did. The news are, of course, nobody likes to see that, but we're here, and we will continue building and working our asses off like we never did it. So it's going to be very interesting. We'll give it all for Star Atlas.
I mean, I trust that you guys will, but like, what happens in 6 months if there is no more any money added in? Like, when we run out of cash, what's happening then?
We are going to work for that not to happen.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's potentially going to happen.
Well, this is what I'm telling you. The team is also doing whatever they can to make sure it's going to be okay. I personally, and I know other team members have already voluntarily offered their salary decreased. This is definitely more than just a job and money. This is a serious dream, and my heart was broken when I heard the news. So I hear your concerns. Only thing really we can say is that we're gonna work tirelessly to make things happen, and we're gonna do our best. That's really it, man.
Yeah, and I feel for you guys, right? Because you're the community face. You're kind of stuck here with it, right? And it's not your incompetence that has lost this money, right? There are no excuses for what Michael has done. Not being able to access that money because he was in Lisbon. It's a $200 million fucking company. It's criminal negligence. If this wasn't crypto, he'd be going to jail. This is absolute fucking insanity that you've managed to do this. Now, having said all that, right, we've got to now try and figure out how do we get out of it if we can. So, working hard is good, but someone needs to come up with a proper plan, and someone needs to explain where the money's gone, right? Because the numbers do not add up.
I will say the numbers add up to me. So, the way Michael described it is 45% was Atlas, was of the 200 million was put into Atlas, which we all know Atlas is like 98% of what it was when we raised that 200 million. So that's 45%. Just let me finish real quick, make sure easy. I love you. Just give me 1 second. Then we also had the 21% tax. So that's right off the bat. That's what? That's 66%. Plus we've already had a year of development, and then we just lost 15 million. So I mean, like, the numbers to me, they add up. I hear your concerns and complaints. To me, the numbers do add up. But I'll just leave it there. Why have they converted that Atlas, right? Yeah. All right. Anyway. Yeah. I hear you, man.
Yeah.
They need to put, it's like old scam bankrupt Ford, right? Yeah, we're fine. It's all right. The balance sheet is good, right? Let's actually see some actual numbers. Apparently there's a whole economics team. Someone should be able to produce a simple balance sheet to show where the money's gone, right? And they're going to need to do that. If they're going to get anyone to invest in this, they're going to need to demonstrate that it isn't a rug like people have been saying all along, right? Because it just does not add up, right? A $200 million investment, and you've left it on FTX. Not your keys. Come on.
I think it depends on how fundraising goes from here. If they go the VC route, I think that company may want things to be more transparent or less transparent than they are now. If they raise from the community, then there could be an avenue of being more transparent, just staying more Web3 blockchain, that kind of thing. But definitely.
It's a private company, right? You're right. They don't have to publish anything, right? And if they're going to go VC funding, they don't have to. But people are going to want to see some evidence of where it's gone. But the reality is the best way out is to deliver something. And to do that, they're going to have to make some ruthless decisions, right? So they need to stop spunking money up the wall on ships, developing them in UE5, right? You need to cut that, stop that, and find a way to deliver a game that can actually give you some revenue, and then build some trust, and then you might be able to sell some more ships and raise some more funding that way in the future. But, where they are now, it's a fire, everything's getting sold, or, it's a total fire sale. And no one outside of this community, which is 2,000-3,000 people, are going to buy anything for Star Atlas. I know everyone wants rainbows and unicorns, and it's going to be all right. But you need to be realistic, right? They need to find a way to deliver something that's got some value that people will want to reinvest in. You know, all us OGs, we're burnt, right? You might as well write it down to 0, right? That's what I've done. It's gone, right? So I'm not fussed about, you know, I've got a big loss. So what, right? It's gone. So now it's kind of, how can we actually deliver something, you know, deliver the game, some of the vision, the metaverse thing, and get back on track?
Yeah, that's exactly what we plan doing. And we will. You guys can be sure Screen is coming. It's going to be an awesome game. And yeah, I trust Michael. I trust the leadership. They will do everything in their power to go whichever way is more beneficial for Star Atlas. And yeah, man, that's what we can do, right? We can do our best, and that's it. If our best isn't enough, we do more. We do more. We won't stop fighting until we succeed. There's no other option here.
I think on the transparency side, one thing they could do, because I don't think stating exact dollar amounts is going to actually help anything. If anything, it could be a negative impact toward the project. But maybe stating percentage of resources and where they're located, or what's in cold storage, what percentage is in cash. Like something like that could be a little bit more transparent with. But then still also being somewhat private in the sense of the total dollar amount. Obviously, right now we have an idea of what they have. So, OGs are in space there right now. They would kind of know going forward what all those percentages may mean. And then people coming in, there will be some transparency to them. But that might be a middle ground.
Oh, looks like that killed it. Oh, I'm off anyway. Good night, everyone.
Hey, who's gonna win
Easy.
the World Cup?
Appreciate you talking with us,
Easy.
Easy. Seriously.
See you guys.
Take care.
And thank you to everyone else who came to the voice chat to talk, whether you were upset, supporting us, no matter what you guys were saying. Seriously, appreciate you guys coming to the voice chat anyway. Thanks, everyone.
Ja.